Hey everyone, Eric on paper, and if you hadn't figured it out by now, I might be Eric. So I had a different topic planned initially, but a lot of you really wanted to see my take on Robin Williams as the Riddler, and who am I not to bow to some peer pressure? So, here he is. So, when you're starting a portrait, you really want to find what speaks to you the most as an artist when your model is embodying a character. And unfortunately, the late great Robin Williams is no longer with us. So what I had to do was do some research, and of course he's this zany comedic figure, as was the way they portrayed the Riddler. And even I have a feeling in a darker version that Tim Burton would have done in his version of Batman Forever, it's Robin Williams. There's no way that the Joker wouldn't have been cartoony and zany. So I happened to find a face of Robin Williams at a front-facing angle that I liked. Wide open mouth, big smile. And I coupled that with the Jim Carrey Riddler wardrobe because, I mean, that's all I think we really have to go on. And I think that it's a good counterpoint to the Billy D. Williams Two-Face piece, where he has a much more stoic expression, well, at least half his face does. And the interesting thing is that this drawing was a lot less forgiving for me than the Billy D. Williams one, because I had to get just half the Billy D. Williams face right. The other half is, drawing a monster. And when you're drawing a portrait, it is a lot of checking and rechecking, putting down a measurement, realizing that, okay, the nose is way too short, for example, or I've given him too much of an upper lip. And if you look at the photo reference, Robin Williams doesn't have too much of an upper lip, at least when he's pulling a zany face. So a bit of movie trivia, according to the IMDb, Robin Williams was also a strong contender to play the Joker in the Tim Burton Batman film as well. And then, of course, we all know that Nicholson got the part. And then he was almost fairly certainly locked in to be the Riddler. He was really looking forward to it. And then he was replaced with Jim Carrey. So unfortunately, poor Robin Williams was very upset with the decision. And, I don't blame him. I think he would have done a stellar job. Now, I grew up with Jim Carrey as the Riddler. And in all fairness, he did a good job too. Very cartoony, very over the top. There is no sense of reality in Batman Forever, at all. It's not that kind of movie. It reminds me a lot of like the 1970s Batman comics, where everything was very outlandish and over the top. And I think that it's kind of a shame Burton didn't get to complete his trilogy the way he saw fit. And it's a shame that we didn't get to see Robin Williams in a part I think he would have definitely been stellar in. Although, for my opinion, the best Riddler that we've had or probably ever will have is I love Frank Gorshin in the 60s Batman show, unironically. He is just so over the top, and I think gave us that sinister cackle that is just very infectious. You'll know it anywhere, but there's just been many really talented actors playing the Riddler. As you've seen in my other videos, I like to go in and do a lot of cross-hatching and hatching for detailing and things like that. In this case, I limited myself for the most part to one pen thickness, like I did with the Billy D. Williams piece. And the reason I'm doing that, see, I wouldn't do this in my narrative work. Like, I have a comic that's out now, and I used a brush for the majority of that. But for a piece like this, I definitely wanted it to be more about the rendering and the style. It's not like I'm too concerned about drawing your eye everywhere or to different parts of a page, because the eye always goes for one space, and that is the eye. It is definitely true what they say about eyes being the window to the soul, and Robin Williams has the bluest eyes I've seen, at least in this reference photograph, so I was very determined to get that right. Now with Copics and building up skin tones, you really need to work it and pay attention to people's skin coloration. Like Robin Williams has a very rich pigment in his skin. He's not exceptionally pale, but I started building him up with the palest shade, E000, and started layering on top of that. Now, unfortunately, here the green I really wanted to use was running low, and I don't have any replacement. So I just made do and adapted, and that's something with your art that I generally encourage is that no, it's not a setback. It's something you need to learn from and incorporate into your art. Unless, of course, you like spill ink all over your page and it obscures all your work, then I don't think any editor would accept that. Uh, but yeah, I just had to fill in and adapt, and his green came out darker than I initially intended. But if anything, it actually helped the piece in the long run because it made its flesh tones pop and the blue of his eyes really shines out. And if the blue and green were too similar, they might have been lost. So, who's to say that fate didn't play a small part in making this piece come together? And also, if fate is bothering to intercede on my art, you've really got more important things to deal with, fate, than just my drawings. Now, my favorite stage, the colored pencil stage. What I really like about this and every drawing I've done this in is it gives it a much more painterly effect, makes it look richer, more vibrant, and sometimes you get this streaking effect even with the best markers, or if your markers are running low on ink, or if you forget to color in circles and color in streaks. So the color pencils do a great job covering over that. And overall, I think the effect is just one I personally really enjoy. It's not reality. It's almost like to me it's like a heightened reality, which is something that Robin Williams brings to a lot of his performances. Like, yes, we see him as zany and kooky, but he always showed so much heart in his roles that I think that is why so many people responded to him as a performer and enjoyed him and mourned his tragic passing. And one day after Spider Man 4, I know many people have been clamoring for Spider Man 5 and even Spider Man 6, and I'm saying, thank you for having so much confidence that we're going to do a great job with 4. But I would love to do a Batman themed project someday. I was considering doing an adaptation of Batman Triumphant, which would have been the fifth film in that 90s, 80s to 90s series, but done right. And here's the final version of Robin Williams as the Riddler, like Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. I wish we could have seen it, but hopefully my drawing will, in some way, make Robin Williams smile. Yeah, this piece was a lot of fun. It was kind of tough to do a challenging facial expression, like where it's really exaggerated, but if you're an artist, you really got to step outside your comfort zone as often as possible. That way, even if your first drawing is just okay, you made that first step. Your second step will inevitably be better, unless you thought your first drawing was perfect, then obviously you have nothing to learn, right? Okay, so coming up next, I'm going to be doing a Spider-Man 4 update video because yes, we've all been working on it. It's just not been a lot of art-related stuff, but you're going to see some cool things, I promise. And then I'm going to be doing a lot more superhero drawing videos, like I've got a request to do a heroic teenage Wonder Woman. Oh, and I am going to be at my first virtual Comic-Con this year by Seer Nova Comics, and I will update you all with the schedule, but I will be doing 2 virtual panels, one on Saturday and one on Sunday, I believe, the 27th and 28th. If I get that wrong, I'm sorry. But one is going to be an artist alley, and there I have a fun piece that I'm going to be drawing for everyone while I hopefully keep it interesting and talk over it. And then I'm going to be doing a piece on filmmaking for my next panel. So I hope to see you there, and in the meantime, keep telling your stories.